Telling your story is an inclusive view of the people around us who share the same dreams and goals but face different challenges moving forward. We hope you come away from each show inspired. Keep watching for this episode of Telling Your Story with Terrel and Nick, coming up next. Hello and welcome to Telling Your Story with Terrel and Nick. We're so glad you tuned in to watch. I'm Nick.
And I'm Terrel.
And we are your co-hosts. We have a very special guest today. Let's just sail right in and introduce the Montgomery County sailing coach for Special Olympics. Dave Dalbeck is here.
This guy is cool. and I say a lot of jokes too. But this is David right here.
Dave, thanks a lot for stopping by the show.
Thank you for having me.
We're really excited to hear about the Montgomery County Special Olympics sailing, about the coaching, about all of the amazing things that you guys have done. And I know Terrel has some very important things he wants to share with you as well.
Yeah, it was fun to go to the World Games and meet a lot of interesting people that I never met before. But Coach David is my coach. He is level five coach. He is a great sailor. He is a great sailor, but he taught me how to sail the laser. And the laser that I never sailed before, and I sailed that boat in LA. But without him teaching me how to sail the laser. And also, I have a funny joke about that.
Okay.
Now I'm nervous.
I know.
So David says something about, do you want to sail? And then at the World Games, and then I said yes, and then he said, oh, you want to sail the laser? And I said, no, I can't sail a laser because the laser is from the sky. And then he started laughing, and he showed me the boat, and then I understand what he said.
That's a great story. When did Special Olympics actually include sailing as one of the events? I know there's a lot of history with that.
There is.
And we would love to hear how it happened.
Yeah, I don't have the exact dates, but I believe it was in the early 80s. Special Olympics was still kind of in the infancy, and they were just sort of bringing on different programs. Sailing actually happened to be Eunice Kennedy Shriver's second most favorite sport. First was swimming.
Right.
Which was one of the first programs Special Olympics adopted.
Yeah.
Sailing was the second one, and coming from a big sailing family, she just had to have that program here in Maryland.
Right here.
And I understand also there was someone, is it Ben and Jean Ackerman?
Yep.
There was the couple, and how were they instrumental in getting sailing kind of moving forward in Special Olympics?
Yeah, I think even with the people involved today, probably 95% or more were actually brought in to the Special Olympics organization through Ben and Jean.
Yes, that's true.
It's hard to describe them. They've both passed away, but they were just the most wonderful couple, family,
Right.
always really thinking about other people, and always sort of, ready to get this, Special Olympics movement bigger, stronger,
Right.
more athletes involved.
Well, they certainly did. I mean,
yeah.
they did an amazing job.
Amazing couple.
Yes, it did.
Is that how
They
you
did
got
well.
involved, Dave? Can you talk a little bit about how you became involved and how long ago? How long have you been doing it?
I think I'm probably 15 years I've been involved now.
Wow, that's a long
I
time.
knew Ben and Gene Ackerman from sailing down at the Washington Sailing Marina, which is by the Reagan National Airport.
And that's where you practice?
Yep, that's where we practice. Ben was in the Hobie Cat fleet, and I was in the Laser fleet, and also the Albacore fleet. So I saw Ben down there every weekend. I saw him, during the week when we would just be down there, fixing boats or goofing around. And at that point, Special Olympics Maryland only had athletes sailing on a Hobie Cat, which is different from what Terrel is racing now. And we only had athletes that were pretty much just tending the jib, sort of working the sails, and maybe steering a little bit. But Ben and Gene's goal was to take sailing to a much higher level and actually work towards getting it to where athletes were sailing a very competitive sailboat by themselves. I grew up in San Diego, and so I grew up sailing and sailed a little bit in college and started to sail a lot more after college. And I think it was probably 2002, 2003 that Ben asked if I would start the monohull sailing program for basically Montgomery County.
Okay.
And I think I didn't do it for a couple years. I think I said no, because I was still sailing competitively, still practicing a lot. I just didn't know if I was ready to take on sort of that responsibility. And then I think it was the third year he asked me, and I went home and I spoke to my wife, and she said, "Are you going to coach this year?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know if I'm ready." And she said, "You're going to coach this year." And that was about 15 years ago. So I've been doing it ever since.
That's
So we need
great.
to thank her.
Yeah.
Thank her.
So she just, I thought I'd be good at it. I just had never been part of an organization like this before. And I didn't really know how good of a coach I would be. I knew sailing, but this is coaching to an audience that I've never worked with before. And she basically said, if you have issues with this, you need to go work them out. But, you're going to be a good sailing coach, and they need one, and, you need to do this. And,
Wow.
that's history.
That's a great story.
That is a good history.
So it's really a blessing,
That's
It's
wonderful.
wonderful
Yeah.
to have been that lucky to get pulled into this group.
Who owns
Yeah.
the boats, Dave?
The boats that we practice with are actually owned by Georgetown University.
Okay.
So we use the same boats that the Georgetown sailors practice in and compete with at the college level.
Right. No, true.
So our program's during the summer for the most part, so we use their boats when they're not using them, when they've kind of gone away from school for the summer.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it is, man. It's good. Coach David, do you have what made you interesting in sailing level 5?
Well, we will hear that answer and many more right after these messages. Don't go away. We'll be back before you can say
Sail
Bronze
on.
medal.
bronze medal. Welcome back. Terrell and I are talking to the Montgomery County Special Olympics sailing coach, Dave Dalbeck. Dave, can you talk a little bit about, because I know that you coach level 5, which is the only level 5 category in the United States, and at the 2015 World Games that you trained Terrell for in Long Beach, it was the first time that a level 5 sailor from the United States competed in the World Games.
Correct.
That's remarkable, Terrell. I mean, that's
Right.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Dave, can you talk a little bit about what does it mean to be a level 5 sailor versus like a level 2 sailor?
Level
Very
1,
different.
level 1 sailors. Sailing was the first unified partner or unified sport in
And
Special
unified
Olympics.
being
Unified means that you have a Special Olympics athlete sailing with a non-Special Olympics athlete.
got it.
So we call those people unified partners.
Yeah, you're
So level 1, you're sailing with the athlete's sailing with a unified partner, and the unified partner is steering the boat. And on these boats that we race, there are 2 sails. So the unified partner actually is steering the boat and handling the bigger sail, which is called the main.
Okay.
And the athlete is, we say tending the jib, but they're really making sure the front sail is in the right position,
Okay.
depending on the direction that they're going.
That's right.
So that's level 1. Level 2 means that the Special Olympic athlete is steering the boat the whole time,
Yeah.
and then the unified partner or coach, if you will, is actually doing the sails, making the boat go.
Okay.
Level 3 is when there's a Special Olympic athlete who's steering the boat and also responsible for the only sail that's on the boat. And the coach is really there just to provide, sort of strategy and tactics, and maybe you want to, sail this direction or head up a little bit higher. But the athlete is really making the boat go, choosing where to go, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Level 4 is actually 2 athletes that are in the boat together.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And then there's really kind of like a safety officer who's on board.
Okay.
But it's really it's kind of 2 athletes working as a team. Level 5, which is the highest that Terrell competes in, is the athlete is out there completely by themselves. So
Completely
Yes.
alone.
Completely. So once they leave the dock, I mean, practice, I'm out there in a coaching boat, but when Terrell went to the World Games in LA, I was not allowed to coach him once his boat left the dock. So getting
my
out to the race
goodness.
course, going through the starting sequence, everything, Terrell was really on his own the whole race.
That's extraordinary. And you've got games coming up in St. Mary's County.
Correct.
And on the beautiful St. Mary's River, and you'll be competing there.
Yes.
Have you ever had an instance where you've capsized? And if so, are you able to still compete?
How many times?
How do you deal with that? What did you do? Can you share a story about that?
Let's see. The last time I capsized, I remember.
The last time.
Well, it was some time ago. When I capsized, I remember I grabbed onto one hull and then get my body into the water. The people who run the competition always say, if you capsize, get away from the boat, and then that always is in your head when it happened. You remember that, and then you had to get away from the boat so they can come and then get the boat over again. So I guess that is a safety thing.
What's interesting is, people might think that capsizing is kind of, you made a mistake and it's sort of game over as far as that race. It's not. Capsizing is actually part of our racing. So if Terrell capsizes during a race, he is still racing all the way up until the time where he says, I can't get my boat over for some reason.
Right.
But normally when Terrel capsizes, he goes around to the other side. Normally you have the center board that's sticking out of the water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the boat's laying down on its side.
Yeah.
Terrel swims over. He hops up on top of the center board. Uses his weight to actually pop the boat back upright.
Right.
Climbs
yeah.
back in and continues racing.
Yeah.
So it's
Thank
not,
you.
once you capsize, you're kind of done. Once you capsize, you're to get your boat back upright and get back in and continue sailing.
Well, and it sounds
Yeah.
like from the coaching, you've learned what to do. You
Right.
problem solve it and you move forward.
Yeah, that's true.
That's amazing.
We did capsize the laser a couple of times, and then Coach David helped me to. I just was sitting there dredging water, and he said, "Come over here, behind the boat." And then I said, "Okay." And then I went behind the boat and see what he did. He get on the center board. The center board is the middle of the boat.
Okay, the middle of the boat. Okay,
keep
got
the
it.
boat going in the water. So he told me to get my weight on top of it, and then it will come up over again. And it goes upright, and then I get back on the boat and then sail again.
It's
yeah,
pretty.
He taught me that.
It's pretty strict. So if we have the coaching boats or safety boats see an athlete that capsizes or a team that capsizes, we'll get up there so that we can assist. But our first question is, would you like us to help you? Because if we do assist the team or the Special Olympic athlete like Terrel, who's by himself, then they're disqualified.
Okay.
So our first response is always, hey, you're still racing, work, help them. And we can't really coach them too much because it's during the race. But they're sort of taught in practice how to get the boats back over, how to hop back in and just keep on going like nothing happened.
That's incredible. I know that Special Olympics celebrated a very big birthday this year, 50 years.
Yes, 50 years. That's right.
What do you think the secret is, Dave? What do you think has contributed to the sustainability of this extraordinary movement?
I think it's the people, once they get involved, you just get addicted to it.
Yeah.
I
hear you.
I didn't know a lot about Special Olympics when I first got involved. It was something that I wanted to do to sort of give back, and I was blessed to have been brought up sailing, so it was nice to be able to teach other people how to sail. But you just get involved with this family, and then all of a sudden, if you're like me, you start changing jobs because of it, because you want to keep coaching Special Olympics. Your family is, my kids, who are now 13 and 15, Terrel's known them since I was carrying them around in a little bassinet.
Yeah.
You just become so interwoven in Special Olympics that you'll do anything to continue to do that, whether it be changing jobs or moving or planning your vacation schedules. My wife and I actually celebrated our anniversary once in 15 years because it's always when we have Special Olympic or summer games.
Oh.
And it was really last year because we forgot about summer games. But that's how involved you get. It really, you're part of a really, really nice big family.
That's wonderful, and I know you're looking for folks who have sailing experience
Absolutely.
that can come and sort of join this movement, have this wonderful experience. Can you talk a little bit about that? What exactly, what qualities and experience are you looking for in coaches?
Yeah, we're really looking for a lot of different, qualities, from people who have sailed growing up to people who are sailing now in college that are sort of home for the summer, or maybe they're at their university taking classes that would like to help out with local groups.
Yeah.
But we have not only sailing partners and coaching positions, but we have safety boat drivers. We have people that help coordinate, our events. We have logistics people. So there's a lot of ways to contribute without even knowing how to sail. And we're always looking for people with, different talents to help out.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I know that next year the Summer Games are in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are happy about that because it will be in a different area that Special Olympics never had World Games or any games
Yeah.
over there. And I hope in the future we will have it we will have it more out of Special Olympics instead of in the Special Olympics in the United States.
So
area.
getting out into the world.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Can you-
You say it.
Thank you. I'd love to know your perspective on what is it like? What was it like for both of you to compete at the World Games and with athletes from all over the world? I mean,
Yeah.
how did that feel? What was that like for you?
It feel exciting. And I when I did it, after the games I say, wow, did I really sail over it right here? And then I keep on looking at the video after the games, and then I say, wow, I did it.
And Dave, what was it like for you when he won?
It was just amazing. I mean, Terrell had pretty much already won in my mind before he went there. Just the fact that Terrell has pushed himself so hard, but also been willing to sort of push his own envelope. You know, I think as a sailing coach, I'm there to help Terrell push his envelope, but he's also helping push my envelope as a coach. And so I think we work really well together. And before
Yeah,
Terrell
we
went
did,
to
we did.
LA, he had pretty much won. You know, going from level 2. You know, I don't think Terrell was nervous, but I know his mom was nervous about him going into, the same boat that college sailors race.
Right,
Yeah.
and
That
they're
was a
like
big- that was a-
Olympic
yeah.
boats.
Right, exactly.
She
And
was.
the laser, they
But
still race the
she's,
laser in the
she
Olympics
calmed
today.
down now,
Right.
but
A little bit.
yeah,
What was your reaction when you said, and your son's going to be in the ocean by himself?
Mine was fine. She said no.
wow, yeah, she really did say no.
So, but sometimes you have that. Sometimes it's not the athlete and it's not the coaching staff. It's maybe someone else that's saying, "Gee, I think that's a little too big of a step."
Right.
Terrell has never come across as saying, or even given the impression that something's too big of a step. That's what really just amazes me and makes me want to go to practice, every
Yeah.
Monday.
And also I like to try something different. That if I do it a lot, do stuff a lot, I get bored. And if you do something different, you seem like you do well. Because you never did it before, so that's how I look
Besides,
at it.
when Terrell went to LA, I was part of Team USA for sailing with Megan Cooper in 2007, and I can watch the replay of opening ceremony and sailing competitions, and I still get goosebumps. And coming out of the tunnel, and you sort of take your seat and you look up, and I remember seeing U.S. Kennedy Shriver sitting next to the president of China, and you recognize there are 9,000 athletes from 135 countries competing in sports because of that one lady.
Right.
And it's humbling,
Yes.
but it makes you very proud that you've been blessed to be brought into that organization.
Yeah,
And
that's
reminding
true.
all of us, one person can make a difference.
Big difference.
Yeah.
A very big
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
You just have to have a vision.
Yeah,
That's
it's
wonderful.
a vision. how
What do they say? If you want to do something fast, do it by yourself. If you want to do something great, bring a lot of people in.
That's what they say. That's what they say, right?
She's
What
brought
you
a
said.
lot of incredible people in.
Oh, that's wonderful. So next summer is Abu Dhabi,
Right.
and you train every Monday night down in Potomac?
The Washington Sailing Marina, which
Okay.
is just off the GW Parkway by the National Airport.
Okay. Okay, every Monday.
Yep.
Yeah, every Monday.
Summer Games is at St. Mary's College, which
Yeah,
is,
St.
I think
Mary's.
it's July 28th and 29th
Yeah.
is the
Okay.
normal weekend.
And how
Normal
many
weekend,
counties
yes.
generally compete for that?
You know, I don't know exactly, but I would say, 8 to 10. It could be 13. It's really every county in Maryland that sends that's been training for the same, weeks that we have.
Yeah.
And that's really our
yeah.
big regatta for the state of Maryland.
So after the games, we take pictures and all that, and then most of the time, yes, we do take a lot of pictures, and then after the games, we go back home and sleep.
You're pretty tired by that point.
Yeah,
Well, on
Or
that
waterlogged.
note,
or waterlogged.
oh, you're waterlogged.
Oh, like capsizing.
Yes, actually.
Well, that is all the time we have on telling your story with Terrel and Nick. Dave, we could go another couple of hours, and I wish that we
days.
could. Or days.
Actually,
I don't think we'd ever capsize.
Right.
There's so many wonderful stories, so we'd love to invite you back on the show
I'd love to.
hear more about it, and we love to invite our audience to check out on the Special Olympics website at somdmontgomery.org to, as Dave put it perfectly, join the movement, become part of the family. Check out the sailing program. You'll be very glad you did. And like we always say, right?
Right. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward.
Just keep moving forward, and whatever you do, don't rock the boat.
Don't rock the boat.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.